Hey guys, welcome back to the Red Air series in the DCS MiG-15bis. So as promised, today we're going to be doing landing and shutdown, okay? So today we're going to be looking at the landing in the MiG-15bis. Now, let's get started. So, if you try to deploy your landing gear and your landing gear for whatever reason doesn't deploy, this is what you need to do in case of that emergency. You need to extend this handle down to the extend position, and then you want to pull on this red tab on this side as well as this one. Then you want to open this cover, and then you want to rotate this valve counterclockwise, okay? And that will basically use compressed air to deploy your landing gear in case of an emergency. So that's important to know in the MiG-15bis. So for the normal landing, let's get started. So first things first, let's turn on our landing lights. So you want to turn on this circuit breaker for the landing lights, and then turn it on using this switch here, and then we'll turn on our navigational lights as well, so we're high and nice and highly visible. Now you want to start your landing, guys, at around a speed of around 400 to 450 kilometers an hour, preferably 400, and you want to be at an altitude of about 7 to 800 meters above ground, so above ground level. And you need to set your altimeter so that you get an accurate reading to the QFE of the airfield. So Mozdok airfield has a QFE of 720 and a half. So let's go ahead and set it here in this lower window. So we're going to go ahead and set it to 720. There we go, 720 and a half. Okay, so basically this gives us our actual above ground altitude, okay? And you can also use your radar altimeter as well, but and there we go. You can see I actually haven't tried this before, but you can see that we're around 700 meters above ground level. Now we want to deploy. So once you get to about 400 kilometers an hour, you can deploy your landing gear as well as your flaps. Now once you do that, you want to increase your engine RPM from 700, so it should be at 700 initially. Then once you deploy your landing gear and your flaps, you want to increase it to 900 to maintain your airspeed. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So landing gear dropped, and flaps down to 20 degrees first, and there we go. The aircraft begins to balloon. So we want to increase the throttle to about 900, okay, just to maintain our airspeed. I'm going to drop to 55 degrees now for the flaps. Now I have to go ahead and trim nose down because of the flaps, the effects from the flaps, the extra lift. We'll bring the trim handle, the flap handle back up to neutral. And there's the airfield over there. And then you want to bring the landing gear handle back up to neutral as well. So let's go ahead and make our turn towards the airfield. Now, as with any aircraft, guys, you will get better at this with time and with practice. So you won't get this perfect the first time that you want to do it, okay? Don't stress too much. You need more practice. You need to practice and practice, okay? It is the same thing with the Hornet as well. Okay, but the Hornet actually taught me a lot of things with regards to angle of attack and how aircraft react to different angles of attack and landing and stuff like that. So I learned a lot from the automated systems of the Hornet. So there's our airfield over there. Now you want to have your approach speed of about 250 to 300 kilometers an hour. And then the final approach speed is around 250, and then the touchdown speed, obviously depending on your aircraft weight, is around 180 kilometers an hour to 200 kilometers an hour. So we're going to go ahead and line up nice and straight on the runway. Now the problem with this aircraft is that you tend to get low. At least I tend to get a little too low on the altitude when I'm approaching. So you want to maintain at about 300 to 400 meters of elevation. It's better to approach from a higher angle than from a shallower angle, basically. And there we go. We're almost nice and straightly lined up. Now you want to aim for somewhere just before the runway, okay? And you want to maintain that 250 kilometers an hour airspeed. Now it's the same principles with the Hornet, guys. If you decrease your throttle, your rate of descent will increase, basically. Okay, and vice versa. We're a little to the left. Let's adjust with the rudder. There we go. You have to keep an eye on that airspeed. We don't have a HUD here. And I'm going to reduce the throttle here. And we'll do a flare. And we'll hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it. There we go. So I'm now going to let the aircraft touch down. And there we go. I'm going to keep the nose wheel up to aerobrake, basically. I'm just going to hold the nose wheel. That will reduce our speed much quicker. And the nose wheel will just drop. There we go. And I'm gonna just slightly tap the brakes. There we go. We slowed down nice and well. Now you don't want to let your RPMs drop below 4,000. Otherwise your generator will turn off. But that was good. That was a nice landing. Now we're gonna taxi. And we're going to go and park the aircraft, and then we'll do a shutdown as well. Now you want to lightly just tap the brakes. You don't want to hold the brakes violent. As you can see, the aircraft does bounce a little bit. And if you want to taxi nice and gently, keep the engine RPMs at around 5,000. Keep it around 5,000 and you'll do a nice gentle taxi. There we go. Now we're going to reduce the throttle all the way down to idle. Now this is where the engine shutdown begins. So we'll wait for the engine RPMs to stop with the throttle all the way pulled back. Now once the engine RPMs stop, we will start the clock. We'll basically start the countdown clock, and we're waiting for 30 seconds. We want the engine to cool down for 30 seconds, and then we'll begin our shutdown procedure. And meanwhile, this is something that I forgot to mention to you guys before, when we took off. This is what you use to pressurize the cockpit for takeoff, or before you take off. And obviously you need that if you're going to go to higher altitudes, okay? And our clock is just coming up to 30 seconds. There we go, excellent. So yeah, this is the it has a dual purpose, both a sort of a environmental control, your heating control for the cabin, as well as pressurization. So if you want to have it pressurized, you'll have it in any of these three different colors. Now, obviously in this case, we want it unpressurized. We want it depressurized before we open the canopy. So let's go ahead and open the canopy. And the first thing that you want to do is you want to start turning off all your electrical stuff. So for example, your landing lights, navigational lights. You want to put the flaps up, retract the flaps all the way up. Make sure that the air brake is in. And then we want to make sure that we lock the landing gear handle. And let's begin turning off lights and inside the cockpit. There we go. Now, for the circuit breakers, you can turn off every single circuit breaker except for two. The battery, you don't want to turn off the battery, or the second tank pump switch right here. So let's begin turning everything else off. generator off, radio, artificial horizon, trimmer, radar altimeter, everything. We'll turn everything off, and we'll come here and make sure that the Arc 5 is off as well. It is. We'll turn everything else off here as well, except for the second tank pump. Now obviously the engine has cooled down. We can begin our shutdown. Now the shutdown is very easy. It's pretty much the same thing, the reverse of what you did at the start. So we're just going to basically close the fuel shutoff valve. And there we go. You can hear the engine. You can hear the engine winding down. We'll do this nice and slowly. There we go. Engine has pretty much fuel has been cut from the engine, and you can see the engine RPMs dropping. Okay, so once the engine RPMs drop or they come to a stop, we will turn off. First, we'll turn off the second tank pump, and then the battery as well. So I'll say this is good enough. Let's go ahead and turn off the second pump, and we'll turn off the battery as well. Well, guys, that's about it for the landing and shutdown in the MiG-15bis. Thank you so much for watching, guys. And as always, if you liked the video and if you learned something from it, remember to leave a like and remember to subscribe. And also, if you found that I made a mistake somewhere, please do feel free to correct me in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye.